Hello and welcome back to the Film Custodian Show. Alright, so we're here to talk about an awesome show called The Rings of Power. I got you again. I'm just kidding. That show's garbage. I'm really talking about House of the Dragon, Episode 9. Here we go. So, Episode 9, House of the Dragon. This was a really good episode until the end. So, and we'll get to that. So first, let's talk about the beginning. So the king is dead, and now the Hightowers are quickly trying to seize power. There's a lot of, the hand of the king is very much like, we're getting everyone together, we're getting all this thing. Until at one point, they go to the council chambers, the small council chambers, and Alicent is like, wait a minute, you've had this plan the entire time? Like, you've been conspiring behind my back the entire time to take over in case, this happens? And one of the guys was like, well, yeah, we didn't want to bother you with that. And she's like, oh, well, you should have included me. So yeah, there's been this whole entire plot the entire time to have the Hightowers, take over and assume power of the kingdom. So this is great. This is really where Game of Thrones really shines, where House of the Dragon really shines too, is all this political stuff, the backstabbing, all the political intrigue going on at the castle and whatnot. It's great. At one point they bring in all the lords that are loyal to Rhaenyra out at Dragonstone and bring them all in. It's like, well, you're not leaving here until you give us your allegiance, right? Until you swear loyalty to King Aegon. And they all kind of do. The ones that don't get taken away, and then one of them ends up getting hanged. So yeah, they're basically prisoners there. Rhaenys is kept prisoner. She's kept prisoner, and then she has a conversation with Alicent Hightower about, are you going to join me, or are you going to, maybe, well, why not just get the throne for yourself? Why not? So scheming going on. And then the rest of the episode, really, they're trying to find Aegon. You got Aemond Targaryen, who's quickly becoming my favorite character just because he looks so darn cool. Also, you have the chin that he has. Yeah, I could see this guy playing the Joker. And like I've said, he was in a real small indie movie called High Life with Robert Pattinson. And it's a really good movie. I really like it. It's really weird. There's a lot of weird things going on. They both play criminals that are sent off into space. So it's a future movie. it's a sci-fi. They both get set off into space because they're criminals to be experimented on, and they transmission their findings back. Whatever. It's a fun little movie. Yeah, going forward, they're trying to find Aegon, right? And no one can find him. They do find him, and it's basically just like, I don't want to go. I don't want to be king. Wah, wah. He starts whining. They kind of drag him back. And yeah, it was a really good episode. There was a lot of, like I said, a lot of drama, a lot of intrigue going on. Not a whole lot of action. There's a little bit of sword fighting going on. Now, where I have a problem with this episode is at the end. So they're at the Dragon Pit. It's this huge cathedral type of thing, like a Roman Colosseum, but they have the huge, ridiculous dome ceiling. And they're about to crown, they are crowning Daemon, the king, or not Daemon. They're crowning Aegon Targaryen, the king. And they even brought up Aegon, which he's named after, the conqueror Aegon, the one that came over to Westeros and conquered Westeros in the first place. They have his crown, which is really cool. They also have his sword. So sort of Alicent is playing this game, she's playing the Game of Thrones, where she has these symbols of power, and she has Aegon, command them. And you slowly begin to see, because this kid is really good at acting, as soon as he's given the dagger, looking it over, as soon as he's given the crown, he's sort of realizing like, oh man, I have power now, and you sort of see he's beginning to be seduced by it and really starts to get kind of drunk on it. Memories of, Joffrey come to mind, Joffrey Lannister, who was just an absolute tyrant king in Game of Thrones. So there's a lot of foreshadowing there and whatnot. And again, I haven't read Blood and Fire, which this is based on. But, so all this is going on, everything is proceeding well, I'm like, it's towards the end of the episode. Rhaenys was actually there's these twins that are in the part of the Kingsguard, I can't remember their names, but one of them is like, I can't do this. He doesn't want to give Aegon the power. He kind of, Rhaenys Targaryen was sort of, again, she was locked up in the castle, locked up in her room. She was kept a prisoner in there. One of these twins actually goes and gets her, takes her out. She's like, you got to take me to the dragon pit. You know, I got to get my dragon. And he's just like, oh, no, we don't have time for that. They end up getting swept up in the crowd because the Gold Cloaks, the city guard, are gathering everyone together and taking them over to the dome to watch Aegon be crowned king. And it's like no one even knows about it. Like that's going to be the announcement right there. The king is dead. Here's the new king. Okay, great. So she manages to slip away and she gets her dragon, right? And then, so again, this is where the problems I have with the episodes start to crop up. So she blasts through the floor, and everyone is packed in there like sardines. She bursts through, killing all these people. Her dragon comes through, and, you know, I mean, the shots look really cool, right? She kind of is revealed on her dragon, you know, through a smoke screen. She's got some really cool armor on that must have been sitting next to the dragon. You know, whatever. I don't care. Small details, but... And she kind of walks up, you know, on the dragon. The dragon comes up and looks out at the king, and she could have just blew everybody away, melted everybody with fire, and, you know, there would be no war. But she doesn't. She just backs up, she flies off, and she's gone. So she could have just flew off, like you hear sounds, and everyone, you know, maybe some guards run outside quickly to see what the sound is, and you see her fly away on her dragon, and maybe she kind of looks back, you know, like I'll be back, I'll come back, you know, like she still could have been defiant. But instead, I think that the producers or whoever directed this, you know, the creators of the show were like, well, we got a lot of stuff going on, but we don't have any spectacle. We need a dragon. We need a spectacle. We need some CGI dragons in here to really sort of, you know, because historically, like I said, episode 9 is always sort of the big moment episode. All the events happen, the Red Wedding, you know, Battle of the Bastards, Battle on the Wall, the Battle of Blackwater, you know, all the important big, huge events happen in episode 9 historically in Game of Thrones. So they thought they had to do something. We can't just have everybody looking for Aegon the entire time and doing palace intrigue. Even though having Aegon crowned king and raising his sword and the crowd is cheering, that was enough. He could have just ended it. Or, you know, they hear, you know, a dragon in the background, and they have like the high tower, one of the high tower people, you know, run out there and look, and you see it's Rhaenys, and she's, you know, aha, I'm getting away and I'll be back. But instead she blows through, kills all these people, which, yeah, so the scene was really confusing because it makes her kind of like she just has a general sort of like, you know, nonchalant, whatever, they're peasants, who cares if they're dead, right? And then doesn't kill anybody and then runs off. And it's like, yeah, you could show that she's defiant, or, you know, the choice that she made to follow her niece, you know, Rhaenyra, and go off with Daemon and all them at Dragonstone. They could have done that a little bit differently, handled it differently. But they chose spectacle instead of subtlety. And, you know, and look, yeah, the dragon looks amazing. Like, you know, the scene is really well, it's well done. You know, the CGI looks good and everything. But in the end, the scene really does harm to the episode. And unless it's explained inverse later, like the High Towers are like, well, okay, well, look, see, she just killed all these people. Total disregard for human life, you know, but Aegon won't do that. You know, he'll be strong, and he actually cares about the people. He's not just going to run people over with his dragon. You know, we need to form together to go off and defeat them, and, you know, defeat them in battle. And maybe that'll come up. I hope it does, because they kind of need to use that as propaganda or something within the show, sort of as more of a motivation to go off and destroy them, because they're the enemies, clearly, because they killed everybody. And it also, I was really starting to like Rhaenys. Usually she has a chip on her shoulder because she wasn't elected queen at the beginning of the show. So she just, you know, she hates all the men. She hates, you know, the evil patriarchy, and men are sucking. Oh, men, and why you keep serving men? Oh, men are stupid. And, you know, but she was starting to win me over a little bit, just because the actress that plays her character is really great. But then she goes and does this and kills everybody, not everybody, but kills a lot of people that are in there, unless they're all magically okay, you know, who knows, maybe they're all okay, I don't know. But yeah, so whatever, it was really good until the end, but I am looking forward to the finale. House of the Dragon continues to be one of the best shows on TV. It's great. It shows up, Rings of Power in every way possible. There is no contest. The people doing, you know, House of the Dragon know what they're doing, whereas the people at Rings of Power all need to be fired. Any chance I get to stick it to Rings of Power. But yeah, no, House of the Dragon is great. I highly encourage everyone to go watch this show. Go back, watch Game of Thrones. You know, it's all out now, obviously. Yeah, if you enjoy my rantings, you enjoy my reviews and my breakdowns, please subscribe. Please leave a like. Please share the video. It doesn't cost you anything. It really helps me out. Also, go check out my other channel that I do with my buddy Brad, Gark House Productions. We do a lot of, we do a funny show over there, like a buddy comedy show called Baxter and the General. They basically are monster hunters. They hunt ghosts and witches, and it's kind of like a little bit of a mockumentary, like if you have Trailer Park Boys that fought monsters. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So, all right, thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.